ידידיי אזרחי ישראל הדרוזים, המצב בסווידה, המצב בדרום מערב סוריה, הוא חמור מאוד. צה"ל פועל, חיל האוויר פועל, כוחות אחרים פועלים. אנחנו פועלים כדי להציל את אחינו הדרוזים וכדי לחסל את כנופיות המשטר. ועכשיו יש לי בקשה אחת מכם. אתם, אזרחי ישראל, אל תעברו את הגבול. אתם מסכנים את חייכם, אתם יכולים להירצח, אתם יכולים להיחטף, ואתם פוגעים במאמצים של צה"ל. ולכן אני מבקש מכם, חזרו לבתיכם, תנו לצה"ל לפעול.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to Syriana Analysis. I'm your host, Kevork Almassian. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's live streaming. Today is the 16th of July, 2025, and today's episode was going to be about the continuous pogroms and attacks against Syria's minorities. However, 2 hours ago, Israel waged a brutal attack against Damascus. They have bombed the Ministry of Defense. They have bombed the periphery of the presidential palace. And I have scheduled this stream with my friend Sarkis Yousef, whose content I've been watching and listening and reading on X. And I'm very happy to have him today because he's one of the very few activists, Syrian activists, who lives abroad, not in Syria. However, he continues speaking about the country and the suffering of the Syrian people, regardless of their ethnicity and religious background. Sarkis Habibi, thank you so much for coming to Syrian Analysis today. I'm really happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm really happy meeting you, and thank you for having me here. I'm
pleasure.
doing all right. How are you doing?
We're watching with lots of agony what is going on in the country. I told you offline that there is nothing basically we could do to stop what is happening. You remember when the regime change happened and I said this is the end of Syria as we know it, and it is the end of Syria as we know it. I would like to start with you guys. We're going definitely to address these attacks against Damascus now by Israel, but let's do it step by step to build the case, what is happening, to understand the situation well. Sarkis, you yourself were born in Syria, right? In Hasakeh. Could you tell the people a little bit about your background, your ethnic, religious, educational background? What did you do in Syria? When did you leave the country?
Yeah, so I'm from Hasakeh. Khabur area around the Khabur River. I'm from Tultamar, the village of Tultamar. My background is Assyrian. I speak Assyrian and Neo-Aramaic, language of Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian, obviously. We had 33 villages in Syria, in Khabur region, 33 Christian Assyrian villages. From the 33 villages, now only one village has left, only my village. The rest are all destroyed to the ground. From 50,000 Assyrian, there are only 2,000 left. The rest are all scattered all around the world. So personally, I'm in Australia. Sorry, I'm in Sydney. My sisters in America, my cousins in Canada, the others in Europe, Belgium, Germany, Sweden, all over the world.
Wow, man. I remember, I had a lot of Assyrian friends back in the day. We used to go to Kesab for camping, and many Assyrian friends used to come from Hasakeh to join us. This was an Armenian camping in Kesab, and all of them left the country even before the war. Did you leave before the war or after the war?
During the war. I left 2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think the Assyrian community has diminished probably more than 90%, just like the Armenian community diminished 90%, especially after the hostilities started in 2011. So I guess, Habibi, there are so many people that I meet from Syrian communities here in Europe, and specifically from the Christian community, Assyrians, Armenians, Chaldeans, you name it, right? And most of them, let's say, they say, we are so proud of you for what you do. You did some exceptional work. We follow you and we agree with you, etc., etc. But at the same time, they also say, why do you bring all this headache to yourself? Like, why do you put your face on the camera? Why do you speak? Like, haven't you have had enough of these attacks against you, verbal and physical? Why do you do this? And when I saw you posting these videos, I really wanted to send you a DM and say, bro, if you're in Europe, like, be careful. Like, don't put your face like this, And really, what is your motivation, like putting your face and speaking about continuously about Syria, whereas you're not in Syria, you're in a safer place, you're doing fine and well. Why don't you do like many others, let's say, from our community and say, Khalas, this country is no longer for us. These jihadis have occupied it, and I just want the safety for myself and for my family, and that's it.
Yeah, so basically, I don't see the country as a, hotel room where I live there, then leave it, and don't care about the rest. Because I grew up with many Syrian other sect, Alawis. I studied in Latakia, so I had Alawis friends, other Christians from Latakia, also Druze, Murshideen, you name it. So I moved. I left the country, but they are still there and they are endangered. So the least I can do is just to speak and try to do something. That's the least I can do. Of course, I can't go and fight and do everything, but this is my weapon, my word, and telling the truth. This is my only weapon.
Yeah, I think it is a weapon. It is a weapon. It is very impactful and effective weapon. And were it not a weapon, they wouldn't come after activists, journalists trying to smear them, tarnish their reputation, and even try to harm them physically, right?
Yes.
Like, why would they do that if it's not impactful? So many people say, if you're so worried about your country, why don't you go and fight against this Al-Qaeda horse? I'm like, do you understand the gravity of the matter? In Syria, now we have continuous pogroms against religious and ethnic minorities, and no one is basically giving them either weapons or political cover to first protect themselves. And today I posted on X, guys, something because I watched these videos from Sweden, the humiliation of elderly people, the killing of innocent people in their homes with tens of them while they're sitting in their homes, basically executions against a religious minority, which they see them as pigs. This is what they call them. So I said, I owe an apology to everyone. My analysis and predictions over the past years were wrong, not because they were too harsh, but because they were far too gentle. What is unfolding in Syria now goes beyond anything I had imagined. It turns out even the bottom of the dustbin of history has no limits. The way things are unfolding after the regime change, how they came after the Alawite community, executed thousands of them, subjugated the community, sent them into silence. They have bombed the San Elias Christian Orthodox Church in Damascus. They have terrified the Christians. Also sent many of these brainless Wahhabi jihadists into their neighborhoods, calling them to join Islam, convert, or they have to pay a jizya, a tax. The other day, I watched a Syrian priest on one of the Instagram channels, which somebody sent me the video. And basically, he says that they had to pay a big jizya, a tax, to the personnel or the operatives of the general security of Jolani, so he can continue praying in his church. Otherwise, he's not allowed.
Yes, they have now sheikh controlling. Like you have sheikh for the church controlling the Christian community. You have sheikh controlling, let's say, university, sheikh for the hospital, whatever you want. You meet the security guard. He tell you, like, if you're wearing like a short sleeve, they tell you go ask the sheikh if he allows you to go in the hospital wearing like this. You're showing your aura or whatever. That's literally, we said it's gonna be Afghanistan, Syria, and no one believed us. But those guys, they are smarter than I think they can manipulate the West and hide all this evidence and suppress the minorities, you know?
Yeah. This was expected that it is going to happen, but this was an Assadist talking point that if you say minorities need support or need protection from Takfiri jihadists, no, you are saying things that support Assad government or Assad regime, right? But this is logic. Like the Takfiris themselves, why do we call them Takfiris? Because they exclude all other sects and religions and minorities, but they start from their own religion. And this is something many people do not understand, because when Islam came as a religion, and after the death of Muhammad, so many differences happened. People fought against each other for political reasons, for religious reasons, and from Islam came different sects. And some of these sects, they have their special understanding of what the religion is or Islam is about. And they say, these people, the Takfirists say, we have to first fight against the Islamic religious minorities before we will even fight against the Christians and the Jews and the Hindus and. Which means, and this explains basically why they came after the Alawites first, the Shias, and now they're coming against the Druze community. How did you see these attacks against the Druze in Sweda? Why Jolani basically at this particular moment unleashed his basically Al-Qaeda forces against the Druze there, humiliating them, executing them, raping their women? What? I mean, we were expecting the investigations, right, to come and tell us who did the crimes against the Alawites, and now he did another one against the Druze.
So he saw the opportunity to take over the Al-Suwaida. It started between the Bedouin and the Druze on the Damascus Suwaida highway, and escalated quickly, and it became full-scale war between those two sects. Then the government contacted the let's say the Druze leaders,
representatives,
the leaders, and they came to agreement that only the social security forces and the police forces will go into Suwaida to protect the Druze from this war and stop the war. But they didn't do that. They broke the agreement. They went with the full-scale army, and they entered Suwaida with the Bedouin and started killing. And we saw everything, shaving mustache, all these barbaric behaviors, just like what happened to the Alawis happened again. The Druze knew that this is what's going to happen because they saw what happened to the Alawis. There was, but they got manipulated. They got forced into this by governments from the outside. I believe they forced them to accept the deal. But they had enough. They couldn't take it anymore. They had to do something. They have to fight for themselves. They can't just die in silence like the Alawis.
I think the Druze, they had weapons, so they fought back. The most organized, I think, ethnic minority in Syria are the Kurds. And the Alawites are completely defenseless. The Druze have some forces to defend themselves, but they are outnumbered by the Jolani regime. Now, some people are asking me in the live chat, are the Druze pro-Zionist Israel? Is this why Jolani attacked against them? Because they're collaborators with Israel.
The Druze, they had no choice. They had no other choice. The Druze were one of the most, how do we say it? Like one of the most proud Syrian communities. They were the one who kicked the occupiers and created the Syria we know it today.
Yes.
But they had no choice but to even deal with the devil to protect themselves.
And this is the condition that they created in the country. Like this is today. One of these Israeli activists, he came and he commented on one of my posts, and he said, "Shame on you! Do you consider yourself a journalist? You should thank Israel for protecting the Druze." And I was like, the successive governments in Israel, they made sure to weaken the former regime as much as possible, and they never attacked the Jolani forces, and they helped him to come to power. Netanyahu himself, he said, we helped the regime change. Like he said, what the military and operational role the Israeli military played in toppling the former regime. And Netanyahu himself, he went and he shook hands with the Jolani forces when they used to be wounded on the borders with the Golan Heights, right? So Israel made sure to create these conditions in Syria to bring an Al-Qaeda regime in power, so he poses a threat against the minorities, and now Israel could be seen as the savior and the protector of the minorities in the country. If they roll into Damascus now, they could Netanyahu and his army, they could be received as a liberator by many people are terrified by this. This is the conditions that Israel and the United States created in the country.
Yes, exactly.
And this is something really terrifying because many people see Israel as, let's say, the enemy, and they don't want to deal with Israel. And now we have Israel bombing the Jolani regime. So Jolani is also now being seen as some sort of a resistance figure. But in my opinion is Jolani was really useful for Israel to eliminate a major foe, basically, for Israel in the region. And now he doesn't have an air force, he doesn't have an army, it's just a militia. If they want to roll into Damascus, they could come in 24 hours and occupy Damascus. But you said offline that you still believe that he is useful to Israel. Jolani is still useful to Israel.
Yeah, it's very useful, especially because he's easy to, he's not him, but the guys, the jihadis under him, easy to push. And like from one we remember when one voice, they said this voice is from a Druze guy cursing the prophet, then they all went and declared jihad against the Druze. So one false flag could lead to genocide. Yes. So it's easy to use them and blackmail. I think they are very, very useful, those because in Syria is like a great soil for growing those jihadis after 15 decades of war, and those young kids grow up with no education, no money, poor, seeking for bread to eat. Now they are paying them $200 a month. They are more than happy. They can go and fight and do whatever. So they're very useful. And yes, and yes, I saw. Yeah, and very cheap army, to use against other countries in the region, like Iraq, Hashd al-Sha'bi, and Hezbollah.
Indeed, one of the reasons why they were so interested in building tent cities in Idlib, on the borders with Turkey, on the borders with Jordan, because they knew this is a fertile ground to hire and conscribe soldiers into this Al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, ISIS hordes. As you said, no education, no services, poverty, nothing. It's hopelessness. And people, if you're born in a refugee camp, or you were 4 years old, 5 years old, and then you ended up in a refugee camp 10, 15 years ago, and then now you're 15 to 20 years old, you're in the fighting age. They're looking for you to join this Jolani army.
Yes.
It's very sad, man. This is transgenerational, because what is going to happen in the country is not like if the war stops today, we will need 3 generations to fix the psychological and the social damage they have done to Syria. People do not understand the gravity of the matter.
Yes, and the ideology, it's a very dangerous ideology. Now it's getting... it used to be, let's say, the Salafis used to be minorities, but now they are growing in rapid, rate. They are growing very... let's say dangerously.
Who in the region, I'm not talking about local actors, who in the region do you think is playing the worst role in radicalizing the Syrian youth, like to send them into Salafism?
Most of the government. There's no, we know them all I don't know, let's say Shebani. Shebani, he's from, it's like a few kilometers from my hometown.
Is it true that he was a Kurdish? Is it true that he's a Kurdish?
No, he's not a Kurdish.
Okay.
He's not, he's just like a propaganda, to show he's a good guy. He used to be Nusra. He used to be a Nusra fighter.
My question is, like, in the region we have countries radicalizing this youth. For example, 20 years ago, you were in Syria, right? you remember those days when we in Syria, and when I say we Syrians, I'm not talking about as a Christian. We in Syria, we used to mock Saudis and other Khaliji people because they were, for us, too radical, right?
Yes.
And now, what happened to the Syrian people? We became more
Saudis are
radical.
cute comparing to the Syrians now.
Yeah.
20, I left Syria when I was, let's say, 22. 22 years in Syria. I never saw this amount of long beard, no mustache. In my area, it's like a 90% Sunni. Let's say Sunnis and Kurds are all Sunnis. I never saw niqab. Do you believe it? There was no niqab, no
Only in few
no long
neighborhoods
beard.
in Aleppo. Only in a few neighborhoods in Aleppo, I used to see these things. Most of the regions, I have never seen such things in my life. For the first time after the war, I saw this. I mean, I also have a big beard, but
Yeah.
there is a huge difference between my beard and their beard. Anyways, this is a clean one, a well-trimmed one.
Yes.
And the problem is not in the beard; it's what here. These
Yes,
people's
of
brain are
course.
rotten to the core, you know.
Yes. Same with me. I had no problem with what people wear, what people look, whatever you want. You can grow your hair, grow your beard, shave your mustache, as long as you leave me alone. Don't want to force your ideology on me,
Yeah.
and you don't me to wear what like you don't like. You have to treat me the same way I'm treating you. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
But my friend, they are saying, so this is, I am citing them, but this is a Muslim majority country and you have to follow our rule. What do you say to these people? That we have to follow their mentality?
Okay, so they are majority, but I am Syrian as well. I have no other choice. This is my country. This is my ancestors' country. This is my country before them. Used to be us, ours. We used to be majority. Then they slaughtered us through the years, through the decades. For 2,000 years, they've been slaughtering us until we became minorities. Indigenous people in other countries, they are well respected. In Australia, here in Sydney, we have the indigenous people. They are very respected, and they have more rights than other Australians.
So we're
There are
going to
exceptions on
become,
taxes and stuff. No, for us, we are not even first-class citizens in our indigenous country. Imagine, we are second-class or third-class citizens in our indigenous country. They came to our country, killed us, slaughtered us, and now they treat us like we are from Europe. We are Christians. We are Salibian. We are Americans.
yeah. But you should feel lucky, Sarkis, because there is no Assyrian country, because they cannot tell you to go back to Assyria because there is none.
Yeah, like what's going with you? Yes.
In my case, every time they come, go back to your country, Armenia. They're so foolish. They think I came from Armenia.
Yes, they don't know that Armenians used to live in Syria thousands of years. All the Anatolia, Anadol, it's theirs. It's for the Armenians. They, let's say,
Anatolia.
Yeah.
And my grandparents came from Kilis, Antab, these areas, right? We didn't come from Armenia. So if you want me to go back to my place, maybe you should return my properties, because you guys slaughtered us. They fled to Syria.
Yes.
People are asking, my friend, what do you think is the future of the Alawites? Do the Alawites have a future under the Jolani regime? What could happen to them? What should they do, in your opinion?
The Alawis, I don't know, man. I've been talking constantly with my friends. It's just like genocide in silence, everyday kidnapping, killing, revenging, kicking them out from the doctors, teachers, all being left with no wage, nothing, just sitting home, looking for food. Now they burnt all the land for them. They can't even grow food, so they are starving. And you know what? what makes me more sad, one of my colleagues, we do sometimes advocacy. We speak with, let's say, organizations, NGOs, and also with foreign ministers of countries who are willing to help the minorities. Let's say one of the NGOs, I don't want to mention the name, because she was talking to my colleague, not me. She said, she was like, because she was saying what's happening to the Alawis. We did like a full report about what happened to the Alawis, and we submitted the report. Do you know what she told my colleague? She's a Syrian, but she said, let them test what they did to the Syrian people for the past 15 years.
Wow.
This is what they said. So they are left to face their face. I don't know. They are, because those people, they've been brainwashing the West, the government, the Alawis. So they're blaming the regime crimes on the Alawis. So whatever the regime did, they blame it on the Alawis, and for them it's okay whatever happened to the Alawis, because people are mad and they want to take revenge, and they are forgetting that all the Syrian people, including me, we suffer from ISIS, which is 100% Sunnis, and we didn't blame the whole Sunnis for ISIS. How
Yes.
can they blame the Alawis for what Assad did?
Yes.
Whereas 50% or more of Assad regime, let's say 80% of Assad regime was Sunni, and the
Yes.
most brutal one were Sunnis.
Yes, that's very true. And the question we should ask to these people, why the Alawites were persecuted for hundreds of years? Was there an Assad 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 1,000 years ago? Why did they kill the Alawites for 1,000 years? Why did the Alawites fled to the mountains, right? That's why, because they were persecuted. So these people have clueless. They don't even know who is Ibn Taymiyyah, what are his teachings about the Alawites, the Shiites, the apostates, the infidels, and if they don't understand these ideological differences and ideological teachings that were imposed on the people on the region and backed by the petrodollar in the past 50, 60 years, they don't know anything. These people are not experts. They're not human rights activists. They're nothing. They've just brainwashed Orientalist people who think they know anything about Syria. They know nothing, because these people only base their analysis on a binary perspective. Oh, the bad Assad, because he was an Alawite, then the Alawites were all criminals, or they all should be blamed, right? So killing all these people nowadays. So what did the Druze do to deserve this? If the Alawites, if Assad was an Alawite, who was the Druze minister or defense minister or who committed any crime in Syria? None, right? So why are they coming after the Druze?
Because, like you said, that they are following the Ibn Taymiyyah. Look, we don't want to say that the Ibn Taymiyyah teachings are all bad, because he has thousands, hundreds of thousands of articles and fatwas. But the jihadis, they only use the ones that go with the ideology or the agenda.
Yes.
They're only using few ones that calling to fight the Nasara and Al-Druze. They call them both Khanazir and Kharada. So this is what they care about, only these few teachings, and they use it against the minorities.
The first time I heard the term Nasara and Nusayriya was in 2012. My entire life, I didn't know what is Nasara or Nusayriya means.
Yes.
And I was sitting in Tripoli, which now Jolani wants to take over in Lebanon. I was smoking shisha back then with a friend, because I used to study in Lebanon. And the guy came from Syria, and he's a Salafist.
Yes.
and apparently he knew one of my friends there. I don't know how. And when I introduced myself, like Kevork, he said, what name is this? I said, Armenian. And the next question was like, are you a Nasara? I was like, I didn't even know what the fuck is that, like I said, I'm a Christian ethnic Armenian, and it's like, so you're a Nasara. I didn't know what he means, and then I asked my friends after he left, And this is the way they talk in a derogatory way for the other religions and minorities. And I have not witnessed any this type of discrimination in Syria. So for the people to know, I was born in Aleppo in 1987, and I lived in a relatively poor neighborhood called Sheikh Taha, which is not an Armenian or Christian neighborhood. It was mixed between Kurdish and Muslims and Sunnis. Very few Armenian families were living there. Then we moved, in a different place, which was more, let's say, a Christian neighborhood. But I studied there elementary school, secondary school, and then went to Damascus for university with different religious background people everywhere in the dormitory. Never at once somebody even looked at me in a derogatory way. Like I don't have to make a compliment, right? I never witnessed that. But then when the war started in Syria, 2011, 2012. Some of the people who were my friends in the university, and we used to even fast together for Ramadan, we had a really good relationship, very, very good relationship. Something switched in the brains, and they started saying, like, why are you talking about our country? You're not even a Syrian, you're an Armenian. And this shift was a shock factor for me, and it also radicalized me, because you're trying to exclude me from the Syrian society. No, Habibi, look. My father is born and raised in Syria. My grandfather is born and raised in Syria. The father of my grandfather is born and raised in Syria. So the father of my grandfather is also born and raised in Syria. The grandfather of my grandfather is born and raised. So I'm the fourth generation here. If I'm not Syrian, then how do you say somebody who came to Syria 10 years ago from Chechnya or Uzbekistan or Tajikistan is a Syrian? What kind of a mockery is this?
It's dead. No more Syria. There is no more Syrian identity, or the Syria we used to know. Now it's like the Ummah. They want to create the Ummah because they are bringing all these jihadis, and they prefer the jihadis from Chechen, Uzbekistan on us, and they see them their brothers in religion, whereas they see us as a Nasara, Nusayriya, Druze, Qarada, Khanazir, they call us all this. So it's dead, I think, the Syrian identity forever.
Yes, I think the Syrian identity is over, unfortunately speaking, and nothing can convince the people now to coexist again for the next decades. The memory is here, the footage is here, and it's not like, you remember when the attack, the terrorist attack happened against the San Elias Church, the patriarch, John Yazji, said that the last time such an attack happened was 1880 or something, or 60, when there were sectarian conflict in Damascus. But Sarkis, back then, we didn't have newspapers, we didn't have TV outlets, we didn't have social media, we didn't have footage. Most people didn't see what happened. Everything is documented now. So how can you convince the people coexist any longer? So you agree with me that this is the end of the Syrian coexistence, let's say?
Yes, unless some miracle happens.
Miracle could be somebody who emerges from this mess and presents himself as the savior of the Syrians. But even that, I believe that it will never happen without the full support of the US and Israel, whoever comes to Syria, because Syria doesn't have an army or sovereignty or any say about the future of their own country. Then for sure the Americans will have a say, the Turks will have a say, the Saudis, the Israelis, everybody will have a say. Syria cannot become a sovereign country again unless they build a military. But how can you do that under such circumstances? It's not possible. So it's over.
Yeah, the game is just at the beginning now. They have plans for the next decades, what they're gonna do with Syria. Now they're gonna unite the whole Syria. They're gonna integrate the Kurds into the Syrian army. Kurds are good fighters. The Kurd, let's say Hasaka, Deir Zor, Raqqa, it's 80% Arab and 20%, let's say, Kurds and Christians. So, and they are well trained by the Americans. They're gonna integrate those fighters into the new government. They have Humvees, they have drones, they are trained good fighters, and they're gonna use them. they will be used. Proxy wars for the next few decades, depends how good they are. Then they're gonna maybe make another revolution. They're gonna, because they obviously no one wants to jihadists. All the countries are moving toward even Saudi. You see how Saudi is changing and becoming, even Emirat, all these countries, all the Arab countries, they are moving towards how do we say it?
Less radicalism.
Less radicalism. So yeah, they're gonna finish the job, then they're gonna start changing them or another revolution. This is what I see. Because if you look into history, this is what happened, and this is what's going to. History goes like that. It's always repeat itself. Yeah.
So, do you think that now Jolani will respond against Israel after these humiliating attacks again in the middle of Damascus? Like, it was live streamed when they were journalists in the Umayyad Square and the bombs fell around them. Will he respond?
Yeah. And have you noticed all the cameras were subjected towards the target? Like, it's just a scenario, to make the people believe that Jolani is not like Israel or Mossad agent. He's just like a jihadi. He's the savior of the Syrians. He's the Al-Fatih,
Al-Fatih,
as they call him. Yeah.
One day before he attacked Sweda, he was in Azerbaijan. And in Azerbaijan, he met with Israeli security officials. The moment he returned from there, he attacked Sweda. And I have few Israelis following I don't know how many of them, but there are few Israelis following my ex. Some of them are, I believe, this is my opinion, they are, intelligence assets, for sure. Like, the way they interact with me, they want to cozy up and they want to, make friends with me because they think, he's one of these minorities. He has a big platform. Bringing him on the side of Israel is a big achievement for them, right? For those who are watching, it's not going to happen. Let's put that aside. But that's not going to happen. However, the moment that he returns from Baku, that this attack happens, it raises lots of questions whether they agreed there to do this against the Druze people, and now Israel comes. Look, the convoys of Jolani, they came from Damascus, from other places, from Daraa. They drove tens of kilometers to Sweda. And they were not bombed.
Yep.
Only a few of them were bombed. They allowed them to go and commit these massacres, and now they're bombing Damascus. I mean, if you bomb the Ministry of Defense, these attacks are not going to be stopped. You have to bomb the fighters, the militants who are killing. So this could be highly likely a theater. Let's see what is going to happen for sure. But my opinion is probably that the usefulness of Jolani could be expired sooner or later. He came as a great intelligence asset. He destroyed allowed the destruction of the Syrian military, the breaking of the axis of resistance. So Israel already achieved its strategic victory. Like, there is nothing left in Syria for them to achieve, right? It's a destroyed rubble. Nothing can make the situation for Israel any better. Even the investments, the multinational corporations are going to suck the country dry anyway. So Israel, in my opinion, they can now walk into Damascus and occupy it if they want to. But will Jolani respond or not? That is the question. I think if he responds, this is going to be his end. If he responds, they're going to end him this time. And Tom Barak is not going to be able to save him. I think you like Tom Barak a lot.
Yeah, I love him.
You posted something the other day. Let me see if I can show it to the audience. You showed something for a video about Tom Barak. I think this is the one. So
yes, you can find it easy. I don't post a lot.
Is it Tom Barak or Tom Barak?
It's Barak. Yes, he's from Lebanon. He's Lebanese origin. Barak. Yes.
I thought it's Barak. It's from. I thought it's a Jewish family name. Okay.
From Barak. Are you watching what's happening to the Druze? The hate speech, the calling of massacring them and killing them. And do you still believe that the Kurds should integrate into the Syrian government and trust them after what's happening to the Druze, after what happened to the Alawis, the massacre, the hatred, the hate speech, the bombing, the killing of Christians? Like, my question is, why all the communities in Syria are happy, love each other, no problem between Druze, Kurds, Alawis? Only problem is jihadis against Alawis, jihadis against Christians, jihadis against Kurds, jihadis against Druze, jihadis against all the communities in Syria. So there is a problem, and they are the problem, not us, not the minorities, the Syrian community, the indigenous people of Syria. They are the problem. The jihadis, that they have no language besides killing and massacring and bombing, terrorizing. That is every single day for the past 6 months, every single day. There is no day off. Killing, massacring, kidnapping, every single day. How do you want the Kurds to integrate into the Syrian army, where their areas are much more safer than Damascus itself? So, like, how do you want them to trust the government? They're gonna fight. I believe that the Kurds, they're gonna fight till the end. They don't want to have the same faith as the Alawis and the Druze. They rather fight than being slaughtered without any support or any resistance, like what the Alawis faced. So you have to rethink and just like get closer to the other minorities instead of believing the Syrian government, the jihadi government.
I mean, Tom Barak himself is very close to Turkey and Qatar and the UAE. He has lots of investments and invested business interests. He made hundreds of millions with his business relationship with this Gulf country. So for sure, he's going to be pro-Qatar, pro-Turkey in this case.
Yes. He's a billionaire. No.
Yeah, I don't expect anything else from him. He's also now talking about Armenia and leasing Zangezur corridor, like 30 kilometers deep inside Armenian territory, 100 years from the Armenian government. This guy is not only the new Sarkis, he's like the representative of the empire itself, not only in the Middle East and now in the Caucasus. Red Access, my friend, you say, yes, Lol Kevork, you said he was Lebanese just Monday. Yes, he's Lebanese. His roots are Lebanese. He's in the 1900s, his family migrated to the United States. And I learned that he has Christian Lebanese roots. But his family name, when I saw Barak, I thought it's Barak, but it turned out to be Barak. It's
Barak. Bright, shiny.
Bright, shiny. Yes, exactly. See, his
nothing shiny about him except his forehead, his bald head.
Nothing shiny comes out of him, my friends, except his baldness. So be careful of this snake. Be careful. I keep tagging him on X every day to show him the future of the bright future that he is promising the Syrian people, including the Syrian Arab Army, falsely called the Syrian Arab Army. Those are the soldiers, guys, of the Syrian Arab Army nowadays. If you haven't seen them, those are some of the samples of the upgrade we had after we have a democracy and human rights in the country. And if you look into their faces, you can see how barak and shiny they are in their faces and peaceful as well.
Yeah, the one on the top right corner, yes. He filmed himself during the Alawite massacre. The video was about him, selfie, videotaping himself, burning Qardaha behind him, calling this is Qardaha, used to be Qardaha, now we burned Qardaha. And now we see him in Suwaida. So no justice, no one accountable, no one held accountable, nothing. 4 months and just
Nothing will happen, my
bullshit.
friend.
Yeah.
Those are the pillars of the Jolani regime. This is the Jolani regime. I cannot believe there are so many people come and say, oh, does Jolani have a control over his militias? Maybe he doesn't know what is happening. Like, bro, did you miss the entire history of Jolani? Did you believe that he's now a reformed man? Are you insane? Did you lose your mind? It's like, how dare you? Like, especially the journalists who now started calling him Ahmed Shara. Like after December 8th, we need to forget about his past and call him Ahmed Shah. No, his name is Abu Muhammad al-Jolani. Continues to be Abu Muhammad al-Jolani. Unless, of course, guys, you listen to Tom Barak, the shiny Barak, then this is what we have now in Syria. George Jolani, because he compared him to George, what was it? George Washington? What was
Washington, yes. Yeah.
So this is what we have now, my friends, in the country. Unless you believe the Americans, everything is shiny and bright in Jolani. The reality of the matter is really not shiny, unfortunately. Sarkis, where do you like for our friends and followers of Syriana Analysis to follow you on X? And I already have your X account in the description below. Is there any other accounts you're posting on?
No, I just mainly post on X. I don't post a lot, so I don't ask people to follow me. I never ask anyone to follow me because I don't post constantly. Like, if there is something important, I speak about it because, as I said, I just feel I have to do something. I speak about it. I'm not just like constantly posting on every conflict. And I'm always on defensive mode. I always try to protect the minorities, speak for them. I never attack any country. If there is conflict between any two countries, nothing to do with me. I don't speak. I don't comment.
He's talking about me, guys. He's just saying I'm not like Kevork. Every time there is a conflict, he has a say. He has an opinion. Everything happens in the world. I have to study.
Yes, you like to bring headache to yourself. More than me.
Unfortunately, that is the case. I just want to say you're right. I also do comment a lot about other things, but I learned the hard way that I really have to study some of the cases. For example, I started commenting on Ukraine after going really into deep about the geopolitics of Ukraine, at least to understand why Ukraine is important. So Azerbaijan, Armenia, I'm from Armenia. I also had to go deep into that. But for example, when Pakistan and India happened and everybody was like, yeah, I have to be with Pakistan and other is with India. Do you guys even know what's happening there? Like, I don't know what's happening. Why should I even comment on it? I don't know anything about anything there. I studied one course during the university days about Kashmir. And to be honest with you, this was how many years ago? 15 years ago or so. I even forgot about it. What was the issue in Kashmir? So I'm specifically focusing now on the Middle East, especially on what Israelis are doing to the Palestinians, to Syria, Jolani, Iran. And unfortunately, this region is going to be in a constant war, a vicious cycle of wars and conflicts. So lots of headache too.
Yeah, for me, I follow all the conflicts. Ukraine, Russia, I've been following since day one. Every day, I check every day. The advances, everything. But I don't take side. I don't see the war as a soccer match. I have to take a side. Who's winning? I'm going for this side. No, I just learn and try to see, educate myself instead of just attacking without knowing and taking side. I might be wrong at the end.
Yes, that's true. That's also true. I will show you guys one last thing, which is important. As you see in the background of Sarkis, there is a flag, right? This is the flag that is behind him. I just want to show you, which I have been aware of for a long time.
Yes.
So would you like to tell the audience, my friend, what is this flag about?
Yeah, so basically, the star is the god Shemesh, the god of the sun. As you can see, there is one yellow circle in the middle that represents the sun or the year. And four, let's say, Those four
Triangles.
represent,
Yeah.
yes, represent the 4 seasons of the year, and the stripes are the 12 months of the year.
Wow.
Yes, and the colors, they represent the 3 rivers in Mesopotamia, Zab, Furat, and Daqlat. On the top, it's the god Ashur symbol, the supreme god of the Assyrians. Also, it could represent, now they say it represents Jesus, and the 12 Talamid and Anajil. It could be that way. It could be put that way as well.
Just finally, bear with me, guys. Again, I'm also not an expert on the Assyrian empire in the past. However, I just want to show you this map so that you also know, because we spoke about the presence of the Assyrians in the region, which dates back even before the arrival of the Islamic conquerors to the region. And some of these people now say that, we're not indigenous people. They're the indigenous people. That's why I just wanted to show you this map so that you can also see that this is the Assyrian Empire, 824 BC. In the dark green is the dark greens, right? Are the Assyrian Empire 824 BC, and the light green is the Assyrian Empire 671 BC. So I think this is very important for the people, for just educational purposes, to understand also the context of our conversation. My friends, I would like to thank all of you for tuning in to today's live streaming. 1,000 people were watching us live today, Sarkis, only on YouTube. And there were many others watching us on Rumble and on Ganjing World. We all thank you for coming to the show and bringing a value to the discussion and conversation about Syria and also the broader Levant region. And we will definitely catch again in another episode and have continue this discussion with you. Thank you so much, Habibi.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for spreading the word of truth and making the voice of the unheard heard. Thank you very much.
Habibi, I try my best. And thank you so much also for the audience of Syriana Analysis. Without them, this channel also cannot go ahead. They amplify the voices with their comments, with their likes, with sharing, and participating in the conversation. And also, these conversations in the live chat cannot be also possible without our friend Red Access, who is managing and moderating these comments in the live chat. Thank you so much, my friend, for the moderation of the live chat. Thank you so much, Hamza, for your support. Thank you so much, Alex, also for your support. And I will see you definitely tomorrow, guys. There are lots of things happening in Syria and in the region. So I will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central European Time, 11 a.m. Eastern American Time. If you like to support the work, the independent work I'm doing on Syriana Analysis, there are different means in the description below. I will see you tomorrow. Peace be upon you, upon your families, and peace be upon you. Habibi Sarkis. Salamat.
Thank you.